guys, Caley Alyssa here at the Alo Yoga flagship store in Beverly Hills. We're about to do a 60-minute Power Vinyasa Flow class. Now there's tons more content on Alo Yoga's YouTube channel, so if you're interested, go subscribe. We're releasing new stuff all the time. Otherwise, let's go. Okay, so we're gonna start on our hands and knees in a tabletop position. So when you come down into tabletop, just glance down and make sure that your hands are directly underneath your shoulders, and you want your knees directly underneath your hips. From this position, we'll start with cat-cow. So on your inhale, slide the chest forward, the shoulders draw back. And on your exhale, push into your palms and round into your upper back. We'll do a couple more like that. Inhale, chest forward. Exhale, push and feel a stretch between your shoulder blades. And then last one, big inhale. And exhale. Okay, now we're gonna bring the spine back to a neutral position. So make sure you're not swaying in your low back at all. Draw your ribs and your belly in so the low back is really long and spacious. And from here, we'll step the right leg behind us. So just start with your toes tucked and the legs straight. I'm gonna have you push back through your heel until you feel a little stretch in your hamstring. And just hold there for a moment or two. And then start to scoop your belly in and up even more so. Begin to lift your right foot up off the mat. So we don't want to lift so high that the belly droops down here. Keep your core engaged and the leg about hip height or maybe even a little bit lower than the hip. And then we'll see if you can match this by reaching your left arm out in front of you. So just take a couple breaths here, hugging into the midline of your body so you feel really stable. And we'll take a big inhale. And on the exhale, take your elbow and your knee out to your side. So you're gonna bend the elbow and bend the knee. Try to keep them at the height of the shoulder and the hip. And then inhale, re-extend the arm and leg. Exhale, bend. Again, inhale, re-extend. And then exhale to bend it. Now re-extend the leg and the arm straight forward. Keep the leg lifted, plant your left hand down on the mat. From here, start to tuck your left butt cheek, your left hip in and underneath you so much that your right hip is just gonna magically stack on top of that left hip. Your right hand is gonna get light. Now watch that your left shoulder doesn't collapse forward. See if you can roll it back behind you and lift up out of that left shoulder. You wanna engage your core so that you're balanced, and then see if you could reach your right arm up to the ceiling here. So another little part of this is you want to push the top of that back left foot down into the mat as well, and that will help stabilize you. And then make sure that your right leg isn't swinging back behind your body. So this tells you that you're not engaging your core enough. So you have to hug your belly in, really activate your core, and breathe here. Your top arm might just reach out over your ear for extension all the way down the right side of your body. Let's take one more big inhale. And then on the exhale, we'll return down, hand to the mat, knee to the mat. Okay. Now in between sides, we'll turn the fingers to point back towards your knees and start to draw little circles around your wrists. So this kind of stretches out the forearm and feels really good in the wrist as well. And just make sure you go both directions. It's a good warm up, especially for a flow. And then turn your hands to point forward. So we'll go into the second side, stepping the left leg behind you. Again, the toes are tucked, the leg is straight, and the belly is actually lifting in and up. So my low back is getting longer, my low belly is getting stronger. And I'll just kind of push back into the heel on the left foot to get a stretch in the calf muscle. And then from here, I hug my core in even more, start to lift that left leg up and back behind me, hugging it into the midline of my body. I'm gonna match the left leg with the right arm, so it's opposite. And just find my balance here for a moment. I'll take a big breath in. And on the exhale, take your knee and your elbow out to the side of your body. Again, inhale, re-extend, reach forward, kick back. And then exhale, bend the knee, bend the elbow. One more like that. Inhale, reach. And then you'll exhale and bend. Then re-extend your arm and your leg. Keep the leg lifted, plant the hand down. So now I'm gonna feel my right butt cheek, my right hip, tucking in and underneath me so much so that the left hip just magically stacks on top of the right. Okay, and then from here, the weight in my left hand will lighten. I'm gonna extend that left arm straight up to the ceiling. watching that the bottom arm, the bottom shoulder doesn't collapse in. You're externally rotating that arm. And watching that the top leg doesn't swing back behind you. So use your core, your belly, hug it in. Maybe the top arm reaches all the way out over your ear. Hold here and breathe. Good, and then with your next inhale, take that top arm, reach it up. And on your exhale, release your hand down, release your knee down. Okay, nice work. So just go ahead and wiggle your hips side to side a little bit, like you had a big old bushy tail behind you. And then from this position, tuck your toes and gently lift your knees. We'll press back into downward facing dog. So you slowly begin to work your legs to straight. Now, if you live in a pretty tight body, you might need to keep your knees bent in order to take the rounding out of your back. Otherwise, you can start to work your legs a little bit straighter. And then since it's our first dog, let's just go ahead and bend into one knee and then the other, just pedaling out your feet. We'll do this a couple times. Good, and then from downward facing dog, I'll have you walk your hands back to your feet. So you're gonna come all the way to the end of your yoga mat. Now on your inhale, just bring your fingers to your shins, lengthen your spine. And on your exhale, gently fold forward, little bend in the knees if you need it. We'll do that 2 more times. Inhale to lengthen, and then exhale to fold. And last one, inhale, you lengthen, and exhale, you fold. Okay, from this folded position, go ahead and bend your knees so that your rib cage rests on top of your thighs. Now, when this happens, I want you to shift your weight back into the heel so you're not leaning forward in the toes. As the weight shifts back, your hip shifts back, you can start to reach your arms forward out in front of you, next to your ears. Okay, so we'll hold this position, moving the weight back into the heels and feeling your arms pretty active and stable here. And then we'll slowly start to come all the way up to standing from here. So push down into your heels, bring your hands to your heart center as you come up. Okay, we're gonna do this motion a few times together. So on your inhale, sit your hips back, reach your arms forward. And as you exhale, fold forward, straighten the legs. Inhale, bend the knees, reach your arms forward. Exhale, come up to standing. Good, again, inhale, bend the knees. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, bend the knees. Exhale, come up to standing. A few more like that. Inhale. Exhale to fold. Inhale. Exhale to stand. 3 more. Inhale. And exhale. Inhale. And exhale. Good. Last 2. Inhale. And exhale. Inhale. And exhale. And then last one, inhale. Exhale. Inhale. And exhale. Good. Take a big breath. Reach the arms all the way up and overhead. And on your exhale, start to fold forward, reaching hands towards the ground. Okay. From here, we will walk it back into downward facing dog. So as you come back into your down dog, just make sure that your distance between your feet and your hands is long enough for you to go from down dog to plank. So you can test that out really quickly. From your down dog, just roll forward, check and make sure shoulders are over the wrists, not in front of them, not behind them, okay? And then once you've got that, just push right back into your dog. All right, now from down dog, roll forward into that plank, and we're gonna lower all the way down onto the belly. So hug your belly in and up and slowly bend your elbows, come down onto your tummy. Untuck the toes. Now I have 2 blocks here, so if you don't have a block at home, you could use a book or just something solid that you can hold on to with your hands. You can even have a belt, and if you're holding a belt or a strap, just grab with an underhand grip like this, okay? Otherwise, grab a book, a block, whatever you got, place it down on the mat. And then from here, bring your forehead down to the yoga mat and suction your belly button in and up. So I have space between my ribs, my belly, and the yoga mat. I can actually slide my hand underneath that little pocket. I'm going to try to maintain that space, push the tops of my feet down. I'll take a big inhale, And on my exhale, I'm going to see if I can squeeze the block so much that I could lift it up off the yoga mat. Inhale, lower. And then again, exhale to lift. Inhale, lower. Exhale, lift. 3 more, inhale. Exhale. 2 more, inhale. Exhale. Last time, inhale. And exhale. Hold the block up. Keep your legs down, your head down. The only thing lifted is the arms. For 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Release. Okay, just set the block to the side. Push your way back into child's pose from here, hips to heels. And stretch your arms as far forward as they can go. As your arms are stretching forward, you push your hips back and down towards the heels. And then from here, we'll come on back into our downward facing dog. All right. So shake out your head a little bit in down dog. You can wiggle your hips side to side just for a moment or two. We're going to get into some standing postures from here. So we'll start by stepping your right foot all the way up outside of your right hand. Okay, now once you get into that position, you want to try to lift your chest up really high and drop your hips down low without bending the back knee. And then just kind of rock and roll a little forward and back on your back toes. So we're warming our hips up for our standing postures. And then from this position, you're going to start to turn the back heel down, walk your hands over to your left, straighten your legs, and parallel your feet. Okay, you inhale, lengthen your spine, and on your exhale, you fold forward. So you can grab hold of your ankles to fold, and if your head touches the floor, you want to walk your feet a little closer together. If your head is really far away from the floor, you want to walk your feet a little further apart. And we'll just be here for about 3 breaths. Really slow and steady. Good. And then walk your hands over to the left, facing the opposite side of your yoga mat. So you want your hands inside of the foot, come onto your back toes, and again, lift your chest up really high and drop your hips down as low as they can go without bending that back knee. So you can rock a little forward and backward on that back foot if you want. The idea here is to get a really nice stretch in your hip flexor. And then from this position, plant your palms flat on the ground and step back into plank. Okay, so we'll take an in-breath here in plank. And then on the exhale, push back into your down dog. Now take a big inhale in down dog. And on your exhale, come forward into plank. Inhale through your nose, down dog. Exhale from the mouth to plank. Keep going. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. On your own, just keep moving forward and backward with the breath. So I should be able to hear the exhale, really forceful exhalation, contraction of the diaphragm. Last 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Come back to down dog. Hold there for a moment. Just catch your breath. Slow it down. Good. All right. Now from dog, take your right foot, step it all the way up in between your hands. Now you might just need a block in this position as well. So I'm going to take one of my blocks and bring it over here with me. I'm going to turn the back heel down onto the mat. So the back heel is actually back behind me and the toes are pointed forward on a diagonal. Now my front foot is going to be in line with my knee. So my knee is stacked right over the ankle. The hand comes outside of the front foot. You can place it on the block or the floor here. I'm going to use my block. Okay, and then the top arm will reach just straight up to the ceiling for now. So in this position, I want you to think about both of your thigh bones sucking in towards your pelvic floor. This is your moneymaker space right here. So everything moves into that. And then from that space, we can then twist open from the torso here. Okay? And then just do a little check and make sure that you're not pushing all of the weight in that bottom arm. See if you could lift that bottom hand up off the mat. The pulling into your pubic bone will help you engage your core to lighten the weight in that bottom hand, okay? And then for the top arm, spin your pinky finger in and go ahead and extend that arm out over your ear and get really long and equal in both sides of your waist. We'll take a couple breaths here. So see if you could really slow down your breathing. Okay, now take your top arm and reach it back straight up to the ceiling. So grab the block if you have it on your bottom hand. We're going to come all the way up to Warrior Two. And just hold on to that block in your hand. Flex both your wrists like you could push forward and away from you, okay? Sink deeply into the front knee, and then lift your toes on your front foot off the mat and spread them wide. So oftentimes we have this lobster claw or this like talon thing happening with the toes. So see if you could just soften them, plant them back down on the mat. And then once the toes are down, I'm gonna have you lift your heel up. Okay, and with the heel lifted, could you try to bend a little deeper into the front knee as you maintain that sucking in of the thigh bones to your pubic bone? Now with your front knee bent, could you lift your pinky toe up off the yoga mat without letting the knee collapse in? So lift the toe up. You're going to feel this all the way to your groin, so that leg is really working here. Keep breathing. You're almost there. Stick with it. Last 5, 4, 3, 2, and on 1, set the heel down, straighten that leg. Whew, good. Okay, turn your toes in, parallel your feet once more. Take a big inhale and lift the chest up. And on your exhale, fold all the way forward. Take the block, set it next to the top end of your yoga mat, and just take your hands down to the ground for now. So we'll come into a little side stretch, Skandasana. So you'll bend into your right knee, walk your hands to the right, and pop your left toes up off the mat. So your hips will sink down low, and your chest will lift up really high. Now, if you're tighter in your hips, we want this heel to be down on the mat, so you might just have to lift your butt up a little bit in order to get the heel down, and that's totally fine. Let's go ahead and switch sides, come all the way over to the left, bending into the knee. Pop your right toes up to the ceiling. Try to lift your chest up high and drop your hips down low. Good. Okay, so from this position, we're going to come into that Warrior Two, Parshvakonasana, on the second side. So take the block, turn your back toes in, your back heel out, bend into your left knee, and then the block is going to come outside of that left foot, okay? So again, you don't have to use the block. You can put your hand on the floor if you've got the space to do that. Maybe you have exceptionally beautifully long arms. I don't. And then in this position, once your hand is on the block, both of your thigh bones are going to suck in towards your pubic bone, right? That's your moneymaker space there. And then from your pubic bone, you can lift just up a little bit to engage your core and your low belly. Then see if you can twist from your thoracic spine, your mid-torso, and reach that top arm straight up to the ceiling. And then with the top pinky finger, wrap it in, take it out over your ear. So be mindful when you're in this position not to stick the top ribs up to the ceiling. See if you could actually contract the right side of your waist shorter to lengthen the left side body a little longer in this position. And just keep breathing, slow and steady. We got about 3 more breaths here. Maybe you do a little test, see if you can lighten the weight in that bottom hand and just lift it. Last 2. Good. And then on your next inhale, take the top arm up to the ceiling, grab that block underneath you, come all the way up to your Warrior Two. So stay low in the hips. You're almost there. I know that front leg is working a lot, but you can do this. You're going to flex both of your wrists, push away from you, holding onto the block with that front hand. And then again, make sure everything is merging to the midline of your body and then lifting from that midline. Lift your toes on your left foot, relax them, and then plant them back down on the mat without that talon foot happening. And then from here, see if you could lift your heel on the front foot and maybe even the pinky toe side of the foot here. Watch that your front knee doesn't collapse. Keep it open. Breathe for 5. 4, 3, 2, and on 1, the heel comes down. We windmill the hands down. Place the block to the side of the yoga mat, step back into plank position. Okay, so from here, we'll take our first vinyasa. Take an inhale, and on your exhale, you'll lower halfway down to chaturanga. Untuck your toes. Come all the way up into upward facing dog as you inhale, and then push all the way back, downward facing dog on the exhale. Okay, now you'll separate your feet about as wide as your yoga mat. We're gonna walk our way back into what's called malasana or yoga squat. So you wanna have your feet more towards parallel limb plie, and you'll bring your hips down towards the ground as you lift your chest up to the ceiling, okay? So it's not like this, and it's not like this. If your heels are lifted, you might need to put a blanket or something under the heels in order to help you get that stabilization here. And we're gonna move again. So I don't really enjoy doing traditional vinyasas, and I don't enjoy teaching traditional vinyasas, so we do a little bit of weird things. And we're gonna do some movement now that will help build heat, warm up the hips and the shoulders, and get you kind of just as heated as a regular vinyasa would. So from our squatting position, on your inhale, you're gonna come all the way up to standing, reach your arms up, and on your exhale, right back down into malasana. So inhale up, exhale down. Inhale, exhale. Through the nose, out the mouth. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale. So we're gonna keep doing this over and over again. I want you to think about, as you do this movement, pushing down into your heels as you rise up to the ceiling. So it's that grounding force, that apana, with the rising force, or rising energy, prana. So moving with that sensation in your body. Good. 10, 9, 8. You should be getting warm here. 7. If you're not, move a little faster. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Come all the way back up, reach up. Hold the breath in at the top. See if you could lift your pelvic floor muscles in and up. And exhale, release. Okay, shake it out. And then from here, we'll take the hands behind the back, interlace your fingers. So we don't want the elbows to bend in this position. We want the arms to be straight if possible. So you might need to separate the palms. If you can, bring your palms to touch, wrists to touch, and then extend your arms to straight. Okay, if that's too much on the shoulders, separate your palms. Take a breath, little bend in the knees, and then on your exhale, we'll fold all the way forward. Let the arms lift up and over, working your legs towards straight, but maybe keeping a little bend in the knees if you need it. And then just kind of shake out your head, relax, catch your breath. All right, from here, release your hands down. Bring your hands to your hips. Little bend in those knees and come all the way up to standing with a flat back. All right, so now we're gonna transition to up-level our practice. This is gonna be challenging, so I want you to stay with me. So grab your blocks or your books or whatever it is that can help you elevate the floor, lift the floor up towards you. So I'm gonna put my blocks shoulders distance apart at the top of my yoga mat. Okay, my feet will be behind the blocks a little bit here. And the feet are gonna be just an inch or two apart, not a whole mat's distance apart. We want them relatively close together, all right? And then you'll fold forward so that your hands can rest on your yoga blocks right underneath the shoulders, and my feet will be right underneath the hips, okay? So on my inhale, I lengthen the spine, find space in both sides of the waist, and then on the exhale, I'm gonna lift that right leg up to the height of the hip. So this should begin to feel familiar in just a moment, okay? Hug your right leg into the midline of your body. Make sure you're not cranking your hip open. A good way to test that is to turn your toes down towards the ground. Now I'm gonna lighten the weight in my left hand, and I'm gonna reach that left arm forward. This should now feel very familiar to you. Okay, let's take a big inhale in this position. And on the exhale, bend the elbow and the knee, take them out to the side. Try to keep them at the height of your hip. So working on hip and shoulder mobility here. Inhale, re-extend the arm and the leg. Exhale, contract. Bending elbow and knee. Good. Do it again. Inhale to reach. And then exhale to contract. Okay, re-extend, arm forward, leg back. Keep the leg lifted. Bring your left hand down. Now take the left block to the left about 2 to 3 inches outside of your shoulder. Begin to feel your left butt cheek, your left hip, tucking in and underneath you so much so that your right hip begins to magically stack on top of the left, okay? Once you've got that, your right hand gets light, and you could just reach your right arm up into Ardha Chandrasana, all right? Now make sure that you're not pushing all the weight down into the block with your hand. You could contract the right side body so much that that left hand could just lift up off of the block. And that's a good little test. Now your top arm can reach all the way out over your ear. Find your balance here. Make sure the right leg isn't swinging back behind you, so engage your core to bring the leg forward a little bit. Last 3. Last 2. On 1, take your top arm, reach back up to the ceiling, inhale. On your exhale, bring the hand to the block. Slowly bend both knees, plant your right foot down. Grab opposite elbow and hang heavy. Okay, so you get to shake out your head, you get to sway your torso from side to side, bend the knees, maybe even squat down, straighten the legs a couple times. This is a lot of work. You guys are doing awesome. Okay, we're gonna try it on the second side. So bring your blocks back to shoulders distance, hands on the blocks, hands underneath the shoulders, feet underneath the hips. Okay, so I find some space in my waist, lengthen the spine, lengthen both sides of the waist, and on the exhale, I'll lift the left leg up. Now the right leg is not completely locked. There's a little bend in that right leg in order to help me get my belly in, okay? I take the weight out of the right hand, reach the right arm forward. So it's left leg, right arm. I'm gonna hold here and just find my balance for a moment. I'll take a big breath. And then on the exhale, I'm gonna bend the knee and bend the elbow out to the side. Okay, 2 more like that. Inhale, re-extend, hug into the midline of your body. And then exhale, bend the knee, bend the elbow. Good, 1 more time. Inhale, re-extend. And then exhale to bend. Okay, re-extend, reach the arm forward, the leg back. Now we keep the leg lifted, bring the right hand to the block. Move the block over a couple of inches to the right, okay? From here, I'm gonna feel that right butt cheek, the right hip, tucking in so much that my left hip will stack magically on top of the right, and I'm gonna be able to find Ardha Chandrasana really effortlessly. The left arm lifting up, the left leg coming straight out from the hip, and then again, the bottom leg, the bottom knee is not completely locked out. I have a little baby bend in that standing leg. If you want to complete this, you could take the top arm all the way out next to your ear. Breathe. Okay, last inhale, re-extend the top arm up. On the exhale, bring that hand down to the block, bend both knees, fold forward, feet to the mat, opposite elbow hold. Okay, shake it out a little bit. And then slowly, we'll come all the way up to standing. Just let your arms hang, roll your body up, and shake it out a little bit. Okay, so the next thing we're gonna do is start to activate our oblique muscles, the core, to help us twist. So this will be the last kind of standing part of our flow practice today. So in order to prepare for this standing twists, we're gonna come down to a seated position. Take your blocks with you. And I'm gonna put the blocks outside of my hips here. Okay, so they should be pretty close to the hip bone, not the thigh and not behind. So right at the hips, okay? And then you can kind of place your hands in front of your blocks and begin to lean back, bend your knees and be on your tiptoes here. So your chest is staying lifted to begin. Your chest is open, collarbones broad. And see if you could just lift one leg up off the mat. And then if that's available, lift your other leg up off the mat. And then maybe those arms could reach out in front of you. I'm gonna externally rotate and turn the palms up to the ceiling for this. Now you might even be able to straighten both legs and spread the toes wide. If that's too much, don't worry about it, just keep your knees bent for now, okay? So legs up. And then we're going to start to round the spine, recline down about 3/4 of the way onto your belly. Now, if you have low back issues, this is not going to be good for you. You want your low back here to be supported and safe, which means you might need to come up and just hold this position. Okay, but if you can hold this rounded position, hollow out your belly, you're going to roll onto your right butt cheek, and then you'll roll onto your left butt cheek. And we're just going to do this over and over again, to the right and to the left. Now your blocks are there, so you can't go too far over to one side. So these are your little bumpers, like down your bowling lane. Okay, and as you do this, you can add in a little flavor, a little dance, whatever you like. Yeah. And then we'll do 2 more on each side, to the right, to the left, to the right, to the left. Okay, now come back up, bend your knees, and bring your heels to the mat. Make sure your blocks are right by your hips still, okay? And if they're not, just adjust them so that they are. We're gonna push down into the blocks to lift your butt up off the mat. Now notice my shoulders are not up by my ears, they're down, away from the neck here, so really long. And then if you could lift up off the mat with your butt, lift 1 foot off the mat, okay? And then see if you could push into the blocks so much you could lift both feet up off the mat and hold it. You might shake. And then come down, shake out your hands a little bit. So now we're going to try it without the heels on the mat. So you cross your right foot in front of your left foot, okay? Hook the ankles, hug everything in. Hands on the blocks, push down, lift up, hold it. See if you can just breathe, okay? Hug everything in. And drop down, shake them out, switch the cross. Okay, last time, you can do this. Hands on the blocks, push down, lift your butt up, hold it, squeeze. And then release. Okay, take the hands behind you, fingers point forward, elbows are bent, feet are parallel, hips distance. We're gonna push down into the feet and then lift the hips up. This should feel really good. Instead of sagging in the shoulders, push, shoulders down, sternum lifts. And then I like to just kind of shake the booty a little here to make sure that you're not fiercely clenching your glutes and making your knees open and your low back closed, so just relax a little. Take a big breath, and then exhale, hips down to the mat. Okay, nice work. Take those blocks, set them to the side. We're done with them for now. Come back into tabletop on your hands and knees. And from tabletop, we'll return to downward facing dog. All right, we're gonna get into some twisting here. So really simple, from down dog, just step your right foot forward. And this time we're gonna come up into a crescent lunge. So lift your body up and find your crescent. Okay, so the idea with twisting is that we're twisting from here, not from here. So we're gonna break this down into pieces so that hopefully we can stabilize the low back and the sacrum and twist from the mid-thoracic. So hands to prayer position, get your hips down pretty low, and lift your belly in and up. We'll take a big inhale. And on the exhale, you hinge halfway forward. So my legs are a little bit wide. I'm gonna step in a bit so that I can then pull my right hip back, my left hip forward a little. This is helping me to stabilize. Now, both sides of my waist are equal in length. Take a big breath. And on the exhale, I'm not gonna twist from the hips. I'm gonna twist from my mid-thoracic spine, bringing elbow to knee. And then I might even push my right knee open a little and lift my left hip up a little as I twist deeper in this position. Now notice I'm not just resting on the front leg, I'm actually lifting up off of it and twisting. Wringing your torso out like it's a washcloth. So breathe here for 5, 4, 3, 2, and on 1, place your hands down. Just step back into down dog with bent knees. Bent knees, push your hips back, hold here and breathe. Okay. We're gonna keep the right knee bent, straighten the left leg and turn the left heel in, and just stretch all the way down the left side of your waist and torso. Push into your hands, keep the arms straight, and then switch it. Come up onto your toes, turn the right heel down, pop the left knee across your body, and push back through the hips. Stretch the right side of your body. Okay, come back to center. So second side, we'll step that left foot all the way up in between your hands, and we're gonna come up into a crescent lunge on the second side. So another thing to note is in your crescent, make sure your feet aren't standing on the same exact line. We want the hips to have a little space, so you might wanna move your left foot over just a little to give your hips some room just to exist, okay? And then lift from the low belly, lift from the back ribs, hands to prayer position. Take a big breath. Exhale, hinge halfway forward. Now, notice my back leg stays straight. I'm not bending it because that's a lot of effort here. If I can straighten, I'm much more stable, okay? Big inhale. Exhale, slowly twist, not from the hips, from the mid-torso. In fact, I'm opening my right hip a little and I'm opening my left knee a little. I'm gonna hold here for 5 breaths. 4, 3, 2, and 1. Okay, hands down. Step back, bent-legged, downward facing dog. Now, with your knees bent, you're up on your tiptoes, you're gonna start to draw circles with your hips. Okay, so just move them around 2 or 3 times one way, and then you reverse, go the opposite way. Okay, and then from this position, drop your knees down to the mat for tabletop posture once more. So we're gonna move into a little bit more core work, just a teeny tiny bit more core work, and then we'll have some good back bending, some hip opening, and you guys will pretty much be done. So you've pretty much made it through the hard stuff. Just hang with me a little bit longer. Okay, from your tabletop, step one foot back, followed by the other foot. Bring the soles of the feet, push them back towards the end of your mat, and then balls of the feet are touching. Now your feet are gonna stay together, your hands are gonna stay on the mat. Could you just roll onto the outer edge of your left foot? So my low back is really long here. I'm moving my butt cheeks to my heels. I'm scooping my belly in and up, and then sliding my chest and my head forward. Both hands glued to the ground. Breathe here. Okay, and then we're gonna switch sides. So I roll onto the outer edge of my right foot. I lengthen my low back, strengthen my low belly, and then open my chest. Breathe. Good, and then coming back to center, drop your knees down to the mat, take child's pose. Now, extended child's pose with the knees spread wide, hips pushing back to heels, and then I want you to see if you could bring your palms together to touch, okay? Head to the mat, and then bend your elbows. So see if this prayer position could come behind the head, behind the neck, and we'll just breathe. Okay, now slowly look forward and just come on up to a seated position. So last little power piece here. We're gonna use the blocks again, one final time. Now, a couple of options. You can have block A like this in an L shape, or if your shoulders are a little bit more broad, you might need 2 blocks, okay? Or if your shoulders are real broad, maybe you go wide, okay? So you can kind of look down and just see about how broad your shoulders are. Actually, I have pretty broad shoulders. So I'm gonna go like this. I'm gonna find my little L shape here with my pinchers, put them outside of my yoga blocks, okay? And then once you've found that, we're gonna come into dolphin position, which is just like down dog, but with your forearms on the mat. So tuck the toes, lift the hips, and push back. So option A is to stay right here. This is a really good strengthener for your shoulders as well as stretch for the shoulders, the hamstrings, and the low back. Option B would be to walk your feet in a little bit closer, okay? And then go ahead and lift your right leg up and back behind you. Now, we're not opening the right hip or turning the toes out. In fact, the toes point down towards the yoga mat. Okay, and then from here, you can have the option to stay in this position or to look at your blocks, lift high up onto your left tiptoes, and just try little baby hops off that left foot, landing really lightly. No big thudding lands and no big hitch kicking with that top leg. So tiny little baby controlled hops. If you get up into your forearm stand, you hold it, hug your ribs and your belly in and breathe. And then we're gonna try switching legs. So the right leg will be down, left leg up. Same thing, you can just hold here, squeeze your inner thighs, or you can lift onto your right toes, take little baby hops off the right leg, controlled, quiet hops. Okay, again, if you get stuck up there, hold it. If you don't, just keep trying to hop, maybe 5 hops on each leg. 5 on the right, 5 on the left. When you're done, you come down and you take child's pose, knees together, hands back by your heels, and forehead on the mat. So this allows your shoulders to relax. So don't hold them back, let them go, just release. So just take a few rounds of breath here to relax. Slow down your breath. Release any sort of gripping or clenching in your body. Okay, and then we'll go ahead and look forward. You're going to remove the blocks from the top end of your mat. We're done with them, so just kick them, hit them, push them away, whatever you want to do. And then we're going to come all the way down onto your bellies for a little bit of belly back bending. So I love belly back bending because we're actually working on strengthening the muscles of the back body in order to pull and lift us up off the mat. So if you have a shoulder injury, it's really good to engage and work all the muscles of your back in order to help support your shoulders. So we're going to start by lying down on your belly and by finding this cactus position with the arms. So my palms face the ground, my elbows are bent in a 90-degree angle, and from here I'm going to bend my knees so my toes actually point up to the ceiling. Now, my knees are not spread way open. When my knees open, my low back has to close off. So I want my low back to open up and be spacious. So knees are a little bit closer together. Hips distance apart is ideal, okay? Now, we're gonna be using the exhales to lift us up off the yoga mat. So bring your forehead down, take a big breath in, and on your exhale, we'll lift everything up. Arms, head, chest, and the legs. And then inhale, come back down, and on the exhale, lift up. We'll do that one more time. Inhale to lower. Engage the muscles of your back. On your exhale, lift up. And then stay lifted. So I want you to see how close you can bring your heels to your butt cheeks. So not all the way out here, but pull them in as close as you can get them. Take your arms out wide in a T shape, and then reach back and see if you can grab your ankles. Once you grab them, flex your feet. And now we begin to move the heels away from the butt cheeks. So you kick the heels back, lift your chest up, and breathe. Now, if you haven't eaten anything in the last couple hours, you can do a little rock and roll on your belly if that feels good. If it doesn't feel good, don't do it. Just hang out and breathe. And then from here, gently release. Turn your head to one side. Make a little pillow for your head to rest on. Wiggle your hips side to side. Okay, we're going to try one more version of that back bend. So same idea, knees bent, cactus your arms, palms facing the ground. Okay, we'll take a deep breath in. On the exhale, you lift everything up. Pull the heels to the glutes. Arms out wide in a T shape. This time, palms face forward, thumbs up to the ceiling. See if you can pull the arms back, grab the inner border of your ankles. If that does not work, if you have a shoulder injury, do not do this. Flex your feet. Kick back and lift up. Okay, so same thing, we're gonna take a few breaths. You can rock and roll forward and backward if it feels good. Maybe think about extending your legs a little straighter or bending the knees a little more. Maybe thighs on the mat, chest lift, just play. And when you're done, we'll release. Make a little pillow for your head. Turn your head to the opposite side. Wiggle your hips. Okay, and then from here we'll push up into tabletop. Swing your hips to one side. So I'm actually going to have you swing your legs over to the right, so you're kind of in this little seat, right? And then we'll take your right leg and step it up and over your left leg. So what's important here is that both your hip bones are grounded. If your right butt cheek is up like this, you just want to take that left leg and extend it out in front of you, okay? Otherwise, a couple of options. You can hook your left elbow outside your knee, or you can inhale, reach the left arm up, and on your exhale, take the left elbow outside of the knee. Your right hand's behind you as leverage. We're going to lift the rib cage up off of the hips, and then on the exhale, we twist. Okay, so root your hips down, your butt cheeks down, lift your rib cage up, and see if you can twist a little deeper. Okay, and then look forward. So we're gonna unwind the twist with the upper body, but we'll keep the legs with the lower body. So unwind the upper body. And then for the lower body, we're actually gonna keep winding. We're gonna keep winding up so that the knees and the thighs stack on top of each other. Now, if this doesn't happen with your body, it just might not. You could sit up on a block, okay? And that block is gonna help to elevate your hips and to work on this rotation to get you up and out of the hips with a nice long back. If it still doesn't work for your body, then you take easy pose, Sukhasana, right shin in front of the left, crossing mid-calf, feet flexed, okay? Now the reason I love this hip stretch is not only because it feels great in your glute med, sort of the outer hip area, but it also helps to even your low back after any sort of back bending. Okay, so if this feels good, you're just gonna hang out here, fingertips down, chest lifted. If you want more of a stretch, walk your fingertips forward and push your hips back and down into the mat. Now you can do that as many times as you want. Fingertips forward, push your hips back, and really feel that stretch. It should feel really, really good. So we'll hang out here just for about a minute and breathe. So go ahead and we'll turn this into a little meditated aspect. Okay, so as you're in this position, just close your eyes, and we're gonna start to count our breath. Okay, so on your inhale, I'm gonna count to 3. So breathe in for 1, 2, 3, and then keep your lips closed. We're gonna exhale for 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Good. Breathe in. 1, 2, 3. Breathe out. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Do one more. Breathe in. 1, 2, 3. Breathe out. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, slowly walk your way back up. So hopefully you feel a little calmer, a little more chill, a little mellow. Hands behind you, unwind your legs and rewind them for the twist. Okay, so the right leg is down, the left knee is up, like this. And again, make sure now that your left butt cheek is down on the yoga mat. All right, and then once you're there, left arm behind you, hook your right elbow, or take that right elbow outside of the knee. Push into the knee to twist. Root both your butt cheeks, especially this left one. Push it down into the yoga mat, and then lift your ribs up and see if you could twist a little deeper. Okay, now from here, just look forward, unwind your upper body. Wind up the lower body. So again, if you need your block, grab the block, use it to elevate your hips, to get out of the hips so you can find length in your lower back. If this feels good, hang out here, close your eyes and breathe. If you want a little more, walk your fingertips forward, push your hips back and down. We're gonna come right back into that breath. This is a little short, brief meditation to help you focus and center. Okay, so with your eyes closed, breathe in through your nose. 1, 2, 3. Breathe out. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Again, breathe in. 1, 2, 3. Breathe out. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. One more time, inhaling. 1, 2, 3. Exhaling. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. All right, look forward. Slowly walk your hands back in, lift your torso up. We're gonna lean back, uncross the legs and take the legs straight out in front of you. So I'm going to turn to the side just so that you can see me here. So Dandasana, or staff pose first. So just flex your feet, push your inner thighs down to the yoga mat, and bring your hands by your hips. So if you're taking the flesh of your butt cheeks and pulling it out at home, don't do that. Take the butt cheek flesh and tuck it in, okay? You're going to push your inner thighs down in order to open your pelvic floor to the mat underneath you. That's the same idea of grabbing manually the flesh of the glutes and pulling it out. However, this will help support your hamstrings, so you won't overstretch and injure yourself. Okay, so inner thighs push down, legs straight. Don't grab your feet. We're not even going to worry about the feet at all. The goal of the pose is to stretch the low back and the hamstrings, not to hold the feet, okay? So bring your hands down by your sides and just start to crawl your fingertips forward. Now notice if you're needing to bend your knees already, you've already gone too far. So just hang out, push your inner thighs down, push your pubic bone down into the mat underneath you. If you're not bending your knees or rounding your spine, you can keep walking your fingertips forward. Now here's the kicker. Look, I'm already going past my feet. So if I were to grab my feet, I'd actually sell myself short on this position, okay? So I want you to keep going to whatever extent works for you and for your body without rounding the back and without bending the knees. And you're just gonna hang out, close your eyes and breathe wherever you feel the most sensation and the biggest stretch for you. All right, good. And then from here, just slowly start to walk the hands back in. Okay, cross your legs. Take Sukhasana, easy pose. And we're going to do a really quick little neck and shoulder stretch here. So we did a lot of upper body stuff in class as well. So this should feel pretty good, this next move. So easy pose, arms out wide to your sides, tent up onto your fingertips. Okay, and then we'll take the right arm, you're going to reach it all the way up to the ceiling, wrap the right arm around your head so your fingers can actually grab the bottom of the jaw. And you're going to do a gentle tug on the bottom of the jaw as you work your head towards your right shoulder. Now you can take these left fingertips and actually walk them a little further out away from you, and you'll kind of intensify the stretch there. Okay, and then we're gonna let the chin just fall an inch or two down towards the chest. So now I take my fingers and kind of walk them to the back edge of the skull, and I pull on that back edge of the skull, so my neck is kind of on a diagonal line now, and I'm just stretching this back line of the neck. And then I'll release the chin down to the chest, bring the right hand down to my side, and then lift up, look forward, shake it out a little bit. Okay, so that should feel really good. It feels awesome on my neck. Hopefully it does on your too. Take the left arm, reach it all the way up and around, grab the very bottom of the jaw, and then give it just a little tug as you let your head fall towards your left shoulder. Maybe you could walk your right fingertips a little further away from you. Maybe not. Just breathe. Okay, and then let your chin kind of fall down into the chest just an inch or two. Take your fingers, walk it to the back of the skull, the bottom edge of it, and pull there. So you get this stretch down, this diagonal line of your neck all the way down, kind of the back of the shoulder. And then go ahead and release, left arm down, chin to chest. Slowly inhale, lift your chin up. All right, so we're gonna do little circles here with the head and the neck, just a couple circles one way. And you reverse and take it the opposite way. Just gonna move around. Good, and come back to center. So we're gonna finish with a little seated centering here. So you're already in easy pose, but I'm gonna have you switch the cross of your legs. So the non-habitual leg comes in front, okay? And then once you've got that, your hands can just rest on your knees. They could be face up, face down, whatever you prefer. Go ahead and close your eyes. Okay, take a deep breath in through your nose. And then exhale out from the mouth. And then just let your breath happen naturally without any control. So all on its own. See if you could relax the muscles of your face, your jaw, your neck, and your shoulders. And then maybe you can tune in to the breath and just pay attention to it without changing it, without controlling it. Could you just notice your breath as it comes in and out of your nostrils? Maybe even feeling the little hairs on your upper lip move as you breathe. Good, and then from here, let your palms find each other right in prayer position at your heart. Go ahead and bow your chin down to your chest. So take a moment just to notice all the benefits of the practice, the physical stuff, the energetic stuff, maybe even a little bit of spiritual stuff. Notice how good your body feels, how clear your mind is. And then go ahead and blink your eyes to open. Lift your chin up off your chest. Okay. Nice work, you guys. We'll see you right back here next time at Alo Yoga.